All right. So the majority of people have already signed in. They're logged in. So I think we should not wait any longer, and we'll just start with the webinar. Welcome to everyone that has joined just now in the last minutes. My name is Michael Schaub, Director of Asphalions office here in Munich. I'm here with my colleague, Ms. Carmen Ulla, Regulatory Affairs Director at Asphalion. And we have the webinar Speed Up Spain today, an approach to regulatory procedures in Spain. And for the beginning, we'll have a few slides on our company, just so you know who we are. We are a scientific and regulatory services company. We have our headquarter offices in Barcelona and also offices in Munich, with in total of over 80 people now. We work in over 50 countries around the world. We have now over 500 clients, and in those 17 years since it was founded, the company in the year 2000, we have gathered a lot of experience. So the major offering that we have for our customers is our scientific and regulatory affairs expertise. In terms of services, we have 6 major areas of service. And before that, on the previous slide, you see that we are serious consultants, but once a year we are allowed to have fun. This was at our annual convention last year in the center of Barcelona. You can see the majority of us. So once a year we're allowed to have some fun. For the rest of the year, we're serious consultants and focus on our work. Now for the services, we have 6 areas of services for drugs, biologicals, ATMPs, advanced therapy medicine products, and also medical devices. All these services gather along the entire life cycle of products. So from the top left, the regulatory and scientific strategy during the beginning of product development, all the clinical development until registration. In the middle up, we have the medical and scientific writing for all the development, registration, and life cycle stages. Then we have the global and local submissions. All of this obviously also in electronic format. So at the bottom left, we have the e-submissions and the regulatory information management. And once the product is in the market, we have the full support for product maintenance. All this together with comprehensive services also for pharmacovigilance. And in the next slide, you can see the services that we offer for the regulatory and scientific strategy, mainly during the development stages. We can prepare regulatory roadmaps that include feasibility assessment and estimations of costs and timing for non-clinical and clinical development plans, obviously always with the objective of minimum time to market and maximum cost efficiency. We're specialized in the European market, but we also have an excellent partnership with a US company for all FDA procedures. So this is really where we can provide the best strategic support. And along with this, obviously, all the scientific advice procedures with European national competent authorities, EMA directly, FDA, and also other agencies. In the next slide, we have the medical and scientific writing services. This is the largest team we have in our company. We have over 25 people that can, on the one hand, conduct gap analysis and mapping of CMC, clinical, non-clinical source documentation, then also prepare, review, or update all the documentation during development before registration of the product, so IMPD, IB, CTAs, everything, until the last step, the complete CTD registration, dossier preparation, and we can conduct this for all types of product dossiers in all procedures. And we have, notably, we have also written entire CTD dossiers, for example, for biosimilar products and also new chemical entities. So we are focusing on innovative products in many cases. In the next slide, we have the global and local submissions. And here we have, in those 17 years, really gathered a lot of experience for all the European and also FDA procedures. We also offer customized support for rest of world submissions. This can be Canada, Latin America, Middle East, North Africa, Gulf regions, some parts of the CIG countries, Asia. This depends on the specific product and project. We always add coordination, and we can also offer a dedicated project management so that you can really comply with the timelines of these projects, of these rollout projects around the world. As part of these local submissions, we also count the support for procedures in Spain. This is the topic of today's webinar, and you probably wonder why are you listening to Asphalion speaking about this? Well, obviously we are a Spanish company, but the principal asset that we have is decades of experience in-house. In our team, we have not only Ms. Carmen Ulla, who has excellent relationship with different authorities in Spain and over 25 years of experience working in the industry, and now 8 years as a consultant. We have many other team members in the management or project managers that have worked with AMS, the Ministry of Health, and all of these have established during this time direct contact persons to which we can address when we have certain issues in the projects of our clients. Based off all of this, we have gathered a profound understanding of the preferences and internal processes at the agency and the Ministry of Health. And obviously, as we're in touch with them constantly, we have a lot of first-hand knowledge of upcoming changes, of legislation, future requirements, etc. And here's also one of the reasons why we delayed this webinar. We had a different date a little bit earlier, but finally we decided to postpone a little bit because there were some recent changes and we wanted to have the final version of this. And I'm just seeing that, okay, that the PowerPoint has jumped, and just one back, please. Okay. We also have a direct involvement with the agency, so whenever possible, we have our staff participate directly in the review of new local legislation and guidelines. This obviously always gives us a little bit of a head start, and then we really know what will be the future requirements for the companies. Last but not least, a lot of our staff is native Spanish, and in many projects we have seen that the use of Spanish language really is a significant advantage. Some success stories, and here already some examples of difficulties that you can have in Spain. The first is quite severe. We have had several cases where the agency sent non-approval proposals to the companies, to our clients, and this usually went like this, that the companies after the European phase of MRP DCPs, when they enter the national phase in Spain, they submitted the product texts to the Spanish authorities via email, for example, the email that you can find on the Heads of Medicines Agency. But this is not the procedure that you're supposed to undertake for the product texts at the national phase in Spain. You have to submit you had to submit a specific sequence back then. Now there's a different system, as Carmen will explain. What happened at that time is that the companies did not receive any answers to their emails, and also when they followed up, there was no answer. Finally, they received a specific letter from the authority, which was actually a proposal to cancel the procedure. And some companies in the Spanish language, they did not understand exactly what it said. And until they followed up with the agency, it was almost too late. We were able to recover these procedures, which were just at the point of being canceled. Next example is that you have to do a certain degree of pushing and follow up with the agency in some situations. For example, you have to submit some follow-up documentation, some follow-up data, and unless you insist a little bit and do a specific follow-up, sometimes the procedures might be an MA application or a variation. They can just end up being in a certain sleeping state. So many times you just need to call the people and so that you can reactivate these procedures. We also have situations where we have non-standard activities, where we don't have specific guidelines or precedent cases. One example is we had a client that wanted to withdraw a product from the Spanish market, but the agency did not allow them to withdraw the product because there were no alternative treatment options. The company kept selling the product in Spain and obviously had to do variations for the life cycle, and at some point asked us, why should they continue to pay the fees for those variations? And with direct personal interaction with the authorities, finally we found a way to proceed, and actually there was an option to receive a waiver and consider this product a medicine of special interest. So finally, our client did not have to pay any more for the fees of the variations for this medicine of special interest. We also have won several appeals. The first example is quite typical, that for some reason you're included in the reference price system. Carmen will explain in detail what this means. And in most cases, you do not want to be included in the reference price system. And actually, there are many reasons why you can appeal against this. Obviously, you have to understand the reason specifically. We have won several appeals so that finally the products were not included in this reference price system. Another example is that you have received by the Ministry of Health certain prescription conditions, hospital only or prescription only, and you want to appeal against this, and we have also done this successfully. And lastly, there are several situations, crisis management, where you need local management, or even complex situations where more than one local authority is involved. And this means that in Spain you can have the Spanish agency, the Ministry of Health, but also the autonomous regions that can be involved in certain procedures, and it can end up being quite complex. So all these are certain success stories where we were able to significantly help our clients, and where local expertise and knowledge was really key. Now, to end with just the look at our services, we have also mentioned before the EC3, the e-submission, the regulatory information management services. We have a large team that offers complete EC3 services, and this really with a complete life cycle of support for all regions in the world that now accept EC3. And there we have also with our partnership with the company Xdata, we have significant understanding of the technical requirements of all the submissions around the world where it is possible nowadays, and also the upcoming countries where e-submissions will be possible soon. We also have experts in-house for the IDMP transition and all the phases until IDMP compliance. And we provide complete services for software implementation, training, validation, support, and the first level support. In terms of product maintenance, we have an entire group that is working basically on variations, renewals, all services for product maintenance, and we can offer complete projects where we take care of the entire portfolio of companies. And this also includes support for FDA and also for several regions in the rest of the world. And lastly, we have a complete pharmacovigilance system ourselves. We have an own audited pharmacovigilance system. We have a European qualified person for pharmacovigilance, also local qualified QPPV services. We can prepare all the technical documentation and handle the cases. We can implement also software for this, and we can provide services of auditing and quality system requirements. So all this, our services just in a nutshell. If you want to get in touch with us, have a look at these events, or maybe you find some other occasion where you can meet us. And now we'll continue.
Hi, my name is Carmen Ulla. Thank you for attending this webinar. And I'm starting with the specific part on regulatory procedures in Spain. What I'm going to explain you is which are the main portal and databases of the Spanish authorities, and afterwards I will explain you some national requirements. We have classified them as before launch to market or maintenance activity. You will see that it is not a very exact difference between them, but order to try to be simple to explain them to you. Concerning the databases, you will see that we will explain REFR2, split test management, Fina database, and Labofar, all of them from the EMPS. We will explain you a database from the Ministry of Health, another one of the College of Pharmacists, and also a telematic fee payment that it's also from the agency. So starting with RIFR2, probably you already know that this is a portal for registration and management of medicinal products for human use. It is the last version. It is in use since last year, and previously there was the requirement of having a Spanish electronic certificate. Now this is not more needed, but what you need is some access credentials that you have to ask to the agency in order to be able to see only your products on the database. This is mandatory for national procedures and also for national phases of DCP and mutual recognition procedures. Apart from the national phases, there are other procedures that have also to be managed through this portal. For example, request of national codes, temporary suspension, correction of mistakes, etc. that I will explain you later. And it is also useful to view the variation status and documents issued by the agency. And you have to know that this is only available in Spanish. On the left part of this slide, you can see a screenshot of all the activities that can be done through this portal. Here you can see also a screenshot. This is one screenshot of the variations of one company. We have eliminated the details in order you cannot see the specific company. And you can see that there you can check the status of the variations. Here, as it is stated here, you can see the number of the procedure, the name of the medicinal product, the type of variation, and on the right, you see the status of the ongoing variation. It could be on validation, on evaluation, etc. And there is also one section in this database where you can download documents concerning rejections, approvals, etc. The split text management tool, it's also only available in Spanish. This is very important application and is for the management of the text. It is used through a complement from Microsoft Word, and it is mandatory for all procedures except the centralized one, and it is for the management of text of SMPC and PIL. Now, apart from this, it is also possible for the management of text concerning the labeling and also for the mockups. So this is two screenshots of this tool. And you see that on the left, variations and procedures will change on the text. This is the management tool. And on the right, you see how you are working with a product, and you see how the tool looks like. Okay, this is a new, another database. This is called Fina, and this is very useful because this allows you to see all the products that are on Spain, not only the ones that are authorized, but also the ones that could have been withdrawn or which are on temporary suspension from your company and also from other companies. And it's very useful because you can see here the summary of product characteristics or the product leaflet, etc., of any product that you are interested in. This information is continuously updated. Another very useful database is the nomenclatures database. This is from the Ministry of Health, not from the agency. And here you can see it's used mainly to check prices, and it's for products that are sold in pharmacy. It includes the retail prices and also some prescription conditions, etc. This database is not continuously updated. It is only updated once a month. But the problem is that perhaps sometimes you want to consult which are the prices of products that are not sold in pharmacies, but on hospitals. Then you don't have any official place to look for this information. But there is this database that is from the General Council of Official Colleges of Pharmacists. The consultation is only under paid subscription, but then you have all pricing information concerning all products sold in Spain. This database is also very useful because you also have not only medicinal products, but parapharmacy products, so cosmetics or other kind of herbals, etc. Lawfare, it's also a portal from the agency, and this requires a digital certificate for logging in, and it's used for information concerning companies and also concerning products. For example, for companies, if you want to open a new pharmaceutical company in Spain, you have to use this portal. You will obtain a login and a password, and afterwards you can use it for modifications when you request for an inspection and other activities. Concerning medicinal products, this database is used to communicate supply problems, quality issues, if you want to do an exceptional marketing authorization, if you have any other incidents with your product. Okay, for the payment of fees, there is a specific place in the electronic data portal of the agency for the telematic payment of fees. You can pay by credit card or by bank transfer. If you pay by bank transfer, it is very important not to forget to introduce the number of the model that the system delivers, that it's the 317 in the field concept. It is very important to fill in correctly the form, and the model is automatically created. Please note that Spanish authorities are very hard concerning the refund of fees, and if you made any mistake, probably you are not going to be allowed to recover your fees. And in the case that there is you fall into the small cases where the fees are refunded, this takes very long years in some cases. Okay. I'm going now to speak about some national requirements. We have classified as before launch to the market, although you can see that we are going to speak with fast track, that it's not exactly this, but okay. Then first thing, for example, is the Braille. In Spain, it is mandatory for packagings that are sold in pharmacies, and also sometimes for clinical packaging if they are brought home by the patient. It is not enough to include Braille in the boxes, but you have to demonstrate the authorities that you have done it well. Then an official certification by a national official body, normally the ONCI is the one used, in order to demonstrate that the rules of the wording are okay, the size, the placement into the box in order to have a correct readability, etc. One peculiar thing in Spain concerns the readability test, because you have to note that for a Spanish marketing authorization, it is mandatory to perform the test with a Spanish population, and the report has to be writing in Spanish. No other languages or populations are allowed. For MRPs or DCPs, no problem, and as you have done the test for many countries, English is accepted, but in any case, it is accepted for national marketing authorizations. Concerning centralized procedures, okay, there is no special requirements in Spain, of course, but only for you to note that we have experience with tests made in Spain with Spanish subjects, but issuing the report in English, and this is fully accepted by the EMA. Then there are rules for exemptions for carrying out the test. This is similar as in other European countries. You can make comparative test with or without questions. And in Spain, sometimes this is what is relevant here, is you have the possibility to make some kind of commitments and to delay the submission of the test. This allows you to submit the dossier, and in the meantime, when the dossier is under evaluation, make the test and prepare the test. So you gain some time with this. National code request. Each presentation in Spain has a national code. It has 7 digits. One of them is a control digit. And for centralized procedures, you have to ask for the national codes at the same time that you agree, the blue box, and this is done through the RIFAR portal. Concerning DCPs and mutual recognition, sometimes you have an initial approval where you only have asked for some presentations, and in the future you decide to add some more presentations. Then in Spain, this is not a local variation. You only have to request through RIFAR portal for the new formats. The only thing is that they have to be already mentioned in the approved SPC. Okay, price and reimbursement. Procedure in Spain can take long. It can be 6 months, 1 year, depending on the difficulty of the negotiations with the authorities. And so after the national code is given to the product, the AMS informs the Ministry of Health, who is the entity who deals with prices, about that a new product is has been approved. Then the ministry asks the marketing authorization holder for inclusion on the system. The marketing authorization holder receives such a letter and has to answer, or saying that he refuses to include the product on the system. Then there will be a non-reimbursed product with free price, or he can ask for price. He can say that there is an intention of inclusion, and then there is the price negotiation. The dossier for pricing consists of some forms, pro forma invoices, a supportive value dossier, and this is sent through a new portal of the ministry that it's called GESPharma. It is mandatory since last year. And if after submission and negotiation you don't reach an agreement, your product will be non-reimbursed. Or if it is included, you will be on the system. One point to point out is that for centralized procedures, it is very important report that it's called Informe de Posicionamiento Terapéutico. This is a report that it's made by several entities in Spain, and it is a tool for the ministry necessary for giving the price. This report is not prepared spontaneously by the authorities. It's the company who has to indicate the authorities that he has the intention to market a given product, and then the authorities start the production of this report. Without this report, the price negotiation cannot be finished. In Spain, it also exists a reference price system for generics. Then the approval is quite quick, and every year the authorities update the groups and products included in the system. This year the project has already been issued. It has been distributed to the industry, and the companies have had the opportunity to say if they agree or if they didn't agree with the proposal, if a new product is included. Only as a general rule, you have to know that the first generic on the market has to offer a 40% reduction over the original product. And if you try to have a lower discount, then you enter into a negotiation and the time for price approval can be increased. The subsequent generics theoretically are going to us for the reference price. The authorities will be very happy if you ask for a lower price than the reference one, and afterwards the rest of the products of the group have to lower their prices because they are not going to be sold in the pharmacies, because they are going to sell the cheapest price. And then you have to note that for all products, generics or non-generics, what the authorities approve is a maximum ex-factory price. They also approve the reimbursement conditions, and those conditions and price are valid for all the country, but we have several regional governments, and they can apply different criteria for reimbursement for certain products. They can also, for example, establish tenders. So it is very important in Spain what the regional governments do. This is how what we call coupon precinto looks like. This is included in all the boxes of all the products that are sold in the pharmacy. Okay, this is one example for you to know. Okay, then the waste management. All products that are sold in pharmacies have to, excuse me, we have lost. Okay, all products that are sold in pharmacies are obliged to be under a waste management system for environmental reasons, and one of the most used is the SIGRE system. If you want to be inside the system, you have to register, and then afterwards to pay some yearly fees. The fees to be paid will depend on the volume of products that you have, and you have to register only once, and afterwards to pay it every year. The symbol is placed on the box. There are specific rules concerning size, color, and etc. And afterwards we are going to explain the communication of the first batch on the market of a product. And you have to note that it is mandatory to include a certificate of adhesion to any of those systems before to do the declaration of the launch of the first batch on the market. To communicate the launch of the first batch on the market, there is an application that it's dependent on RIFAR. And very important to know that if the communication is done between the day 1 and 15 of a given month, you will be able to be on the market the first day of the following month. If the communication is done between the day 16th or 13th from a given month, you will be able to be on the market the first day of the second following month. This is because this platform communicates with the one that I explained you previously, the nomenclature ones that deal with prices. And the way to communicate both is having those deadlines for transmission of information. Here is where, if you see in this screenshot, the certificate has to be attached. Please note that the certificate is for products sold on pharmacies. For hospital products, you don't have to have this symbol in your packages, because it is supposed that it's the hospitals who deal about the waste created. Okay, once you communicate the first batch on the market, you have to do another thing, is to update information on formats currently of the market. There is one application that I will explain you later. One interesting thing in Spain is to know that there is the possibility to get fast-track authorizations. This can be for dossiers who have a reference dossier that has been approved not more than 2 years previously. The dossier of the new product has to be identical to the authorized one. The marketing authorization holder can be different than the fast-track one. And there are some specific letters, declarations, etc. that have to be covered to be able to ask for this kind of product. Important that this product cannot be used as a reference for extension of the authorization to other countries. It will remain only national product. Okay, in the national phases after a DCP or MRP, what we discuss with the authorities is the text. And also for marketing authorizations purely national. Then the texts are introduced in the splitting test application that I have explained you before. But normally afterwards the discussion is held by email with the evaluator, because normally they are going to require changes because they don't like some sentences on the translation, or they prefer to do it other ways, etc. And after you reach the agreement with evaluators, you send the final sequence to the authorities. Now I'm going to speak about maintenance activities, the update of information on presentations on the market, annual maintenance of medicinal products, very shortly advertising, and how to do temporary suspensions and withdrawals. Okay. Every time you change the status of the marketing of a presentation, you have to notify it through a tool, the IAMS tool. You have to notify the launch of the first batch on the market, as I explained you before. And then if you want temporary to suspend commercialization, or you were on temporary suspension and you want to leave it, you have to use this application. Okay, this is related to a payment that I'm going to explain you now. Okay, Every year you have to do an annual maintenance of your products, and 2 tasks are required. One is the declaration of commercialization for the next year. This is done in October. And then the payment of the annual maintenance fees that it's done until December each year. This is done whether the medicinal product is commercialized or not. For centralized procedures, you have to do the declaration of commercialization, but you don't have to pay the fee. This year the fee was less than 400 euros. Each year it increased a little bit. And the proof of payment, you have to create an invoice similar to the ones that you create when you pay a variation. Concerning advertising of medicinal products, please note that this is treated at regional level. So this is not, you have to communicate to the regional authority where your company is located. And depending on the kind of product or the target, the product could require, the materials could require authorization or notification. The type of product can be medicinal product, medical device, food supplement, target patients or healthcare professionals. So there is a combination of all of these, and some communications are only notifications and some others require authorization. Also, you have to, every year, you have to do some annual communications, and if the communications are targeted to healthcare professionals, then you have to communicate to send this annual communication to the applicable regional government. And if the communication is targeted to patients, then you have to send it to the Ministry of Health. And then finally, 2 other maintenance activities are the temporary suspension or the withdrawal of the marketing authorization. There are strict rules in Spain for these 2 activities, and you have to justify that there is no therapeutic gap, the reason of the suspension or the withdrawal, and normally you have to do it 2 months, to have to request for it 2 months in advance. The procedures are managed through RIFAR application, and a suspension cannot be longer than 3 years, because in Spain the sunset clause applies, and when the authorities see that a product has been not on the market for more than 3 years, they can apply the sunset clause and send a proposal of cancellation of the marketing authorization. The problem in Spain is that there are some rules for this sunset clause. There are some very few cases where the sunset clause can be lifted, and in all the rest of cases, once you receive the proposal, it's very, very difficult to revert it, and your authorization will be withdrawn. And I believe that, okay, this is all we have prepared to you today for you. Now you can send your questions on the chat if you have any questions. If you don't have now any questions and you want to send any questions afterwards, you have here some electronic addresses to do it. I don't know if until now we have already any question. Okay, we have a question, is if for price and reimbursement, if a marketing authorization holder does not reply to the ministry and loses the timing to reply to the start of the process, can this be stated later? Yes, you can ask for price and reimbursement afterwards, and theoretically there is no problem with this. The timings are very similar, but under the administrative point of view is different because it's not initiated by the ministry, by the company, and there is some differences, legal differences, but yes, you can do in the future. Okay. Another question. If it is not required to have an electronic digital certificate to access RIFAR, yes, it's very, very recent, but yes, there is the need to install the digital certificates. For medical devices, I'm sorry, but it is not the objective of we have questions on medical devices. Perhaps we will do some seminar on medical devices on other occasions. Sorry. Okay, another question is if communication of the launch of the first batch has also to be done after marketing authorization transfer by a new marketing authorization holder. If the product was already on the market, you don't have to do the communication of the first batch because it was already done for the first company. So no problem with this. If it had never been on the market, then the new marketing authorization holder has to do the first batch communication. Okay, I'm trying to see more questions. Can company ask IMs proactively for the exemption from the sunset clause, or should rather wait for the proposal from IMs? We don't recommend to ask proactively for the exemption because there are very few cases where the exemption can be applied. The thing that you can do is to see if you fall under any of the exemptions already accepted. But if you don't fall into any of the approved accepted exemptions, I wouldn't do anything proactively. Can we allow several access to RIFAR to different consultants? Yes. The marketing authorization holder has the power to add or eliminate companies from the access to RIFAR. So anytime they can add companies or to eliminate companies. How to request credentials to RIFAR? You have to ask to the agency. We can help you to do this if you want. There is a form to do it. It's Braille necessary for small pack sizes below 10 milliliters. This has to be discussed with the Blind People Association and with the IMs. This is something to be discussed on a case-by-case basis. Okay. We have already answered some of the other companies. The transfer during a national phase, theoretically, no. You have to wait to be able to do the transfer. The Braille implementation is always obliged. It is obliged for products that are sold in pharmacies, or for products that are sold in hospitals, but that can be given to patients to be administered at home. Which is exactly the timeline for the grant of the marketing authorization after the end of phase for a DCP or mutual recognition procedure. I'm sorry, but in Spain there is no exact time for this. Authorities respect the deadlines, okay? Not very exactly, I'm sorry. And it can depend on if you call them, if you very quickly find out who is the evaluator. It could depend on a lot of things. And at the moment, I cannot see any more questions. Okay, there is another question. Can we launch a product after 3 years expired from sunset clause? Okay, if you have been lucky, the authorities have not detected that your product was not launched during the 3 years, yes, you can do it. The problem is that if authorities send you a proposal of sunset because you have not launched the product, then it is, as I told you, very difficult to revert it. But if you have been lucky, they have not noticed because they don't have a very well working procedure for this. So it could be that you are you have not been on the market for more than 3 years and they have not noticed. Then okay, there is no problem. You can go on the market. Okay. We had okay. Timelines in Spain, because I have a question, another question about the timelines to obtain the marketing authorization through national procedures. You can expect not less than 1 year. It could be 1 year and a half. It will depend on the quantity of questions that you had from clinical, from the chemical department, etc. It's not very exact. And also it would depend also on how close are you able to work with the authorities to try to speed up the procedures. Okay, everybody. I see that more or less, I believe we have answered all the questions. I'm sorry if there is some ones that we have missed here in the screen because they appear in a screen to us and we are reading them. If any of you has any other question, please let us know and we will be very happy to answer you. We hope you have enjoyed the meeting and you have learned a lot. Or thank you very much for attending and coming, and I hope to have the opportunity to have another webinar, and you will be here also. Thank you very much. Someone says that it was great. If we were going to buy a beer to our IT team, for sure. We are going nowadays down the building and celebrate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Carmen. Thanks, everyone. We hope that you liked the webinar and we hope to hear from you soon. There are our email addresses on the screen. Feel free to reach out to us at any time. We close the webinar now. Thanks again to all of you and have a very good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.